Hi and welcome back everyone. Welcome back to a new Black Desert mobile video. Right, so as you can see today we'll be doing a short and quick preview of the next possible class for Black Desert Mobile, which is the Musa or Blademaster Ascension. Right, so without further ado, right, let's jump right into the skills of the Blademaster or Musa. Right, first up we have this skill, right, which is either on L or Seret, right. It will give you a 20 attack buff for yourself, and it will cause bleeding damage, right, 60 per second, and it does a knockdown, yeah, instant knockdown, yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next skill, right. So this looks like a tornado. Right, we shall not even attempt to translate the name, right, since when it comes to the global version, the name might be different. Okay, so for this second skill, right, it's either A hip or Seret, right. Of course, we are going with A hip, and it will increase your attack by 20 attack buff for yourself. Right, you can also increase your attack range by 10% at level 3. And of course, there's 90 HP life stealing per hit, right? So that's 4 hits over here, right? So that is around 360 health. And of course, if you use this skill, your enemy gets knocked down, yeah. Right, and next, right, this third skill, right, is either A hip or L, right? We'll go A hip, and as you can see, it causes a minus 20 attack debuff on your enemy and a minus 5% movement speed debuff on your enemy as well. Okay, so for this third skill, right, there's super armor, right, same as the second skill, but their super armor will not work in the arena, right, for these two skills, right? Okay, for this skill there's no life stealing, but okay, there's a knockdown as well, yeah. And let's go on to the fourth skill, right? The fourth skill is either on Labyrinth or Seret. Obviously, go for Labyrinth. Okay, it will give your enemy players a minus 20 defense debuff. You can also increase your attack range by 10% at level 2. And decrease 60 MP. Okay, so this skill has frontal guard, okay, but it will not work in the arena. And of course, it does a knockdown as well. Okay, and let's move on to the next. Okay, so this skill has no branch damage. You can turn on super armor, okay, but it will not work in the arena. Okay, plus 20 defense buff for yourself. Okay, bleeding damage 60 per second. Okay, so this is basically just a 5 MP reduction. Right, so this will do a daze on your enemy player, right? Even though this skill has no branch damage, right? As you can see from the skills animation. Right, let's move on to the next. Right, so this skill is your bread and butter for PvP. As you can see, the Blademaster or Musa is more suited for PvP as compared to farming, which is PvE. Right, so as you can see, this skill will do a stun, right? And it will do a minus 5 movement speed debuff to your enemy. Right, your cooldown reduction will be further reduced by 3 seconds at level 3. And you can use it one additional time, so one additional skill charge at level 2 as well. Yeah, so it's a mid-range attack skill that allows you to land a stun. Okay, so usually for PvP, okay, this is a very good skill to initiate a combo. Okay, let's move on to the next skill. Okay, so this is one of the better skills that you should be using more often in PvP, right? So first up, right, you can change it to super armor, even though this skill by default is frontal guard, okay, and it will work in the arena. Okay, this is when level 3. Okay, So bleeding damage 100 per second, which is a lot. Okay, plus 20 buff to yourself. Okay, you gain back 6 MP, and this is most likely, yes, 3 seconds cooldown reduction at level 2. Okay, so this skill is very important for PvP because, right, if you have a striker, for example, right, if you are using your so-called counter skill, which is shoulder thrust, that is not a counter skill, right? Right. So for this skill, look at the skill's animation, right? This is the skill that actually counters. Okay, so what is happening here is when you use your skill, okay, when your character is doing this animation, that's frontal guards, okay? But when or if anyone attacks you, when you're doing this, yeah, your character will automatically counter by himself. Okay, the first hit will do a daze, and the last hit will do a knockdown. Okay, so this is the true counter skill. Yeah, so only Musa, Blademaster, and Meiwa, alright, in the future when we do get her, will have this type of counter skill. Yeah. Right. So remember, if you are planning to use a Blademaster or Musa, this is a very good skill to have because you can use this to counter many skills of other classes. Okay, so let's move on to the next skill. Okay, so this skill has Lab Brief or a hit, right? I'm sure you are seeing a pattern now, right? As a Musa or Blademaster ascended, right, you will most likely be going Lab Brief and a hit, okay, for your branches. Okay, so for this skill, you will get a 20 defense buff for yourself. Okay, you will do a minus 5% attack speed debuff to your enemy, and there's also a 2 seconds cooldown reduction at level 3. Okay, so this skill has super armor, and it will do a daze. Yeah, so the super armor for this skill will work in the arena as well. Right, so this is a skill that you should be using more often along with this skill and this skill for PvP. Yeah, and let's move on to the next skill. Okay, so for this next skill, there's Lab Brief or L, right? Okay, so this will allow you to increase the number of targets you can hit by 1, and this will do a minus 5% attack speed debuff to your enemy, and this will allow you to have 1 additional charge to this skill at level 3 of this skill. Right, for this skill, it will do a knockdown. Okay, but the first hit will do a knockback. Right, as you can see from if you look at the skills animation carefully, right, look at the first hit. Okay, there was a knockback followed by a knockdown. Alright, and let's move on to the next skill. Okay, so for this skill, right, this will be the missing skill, which is kind of similar to what all the other classes are missing, right, which they will add the missing skill back in a future patch. For example, if you are a gladiator, you'll be missing the spear skill, right? So this is the missing skill, or rather this will be the missing skill for Ascended Musas or Blademasters. Okay, so this skill will do a minus 5% movement speed debuff to your enemies. Okay, and bleeding damage 60 damage per second, right? And increase your attack range by 10%. Okay, and this will increase the distance you can jump backwards. Right, basically this skill will allow your Musa to jump backwards. Right, so when you're jumping backwards in the air, you'll be invincible. Right, so it is an iframe. Yeah. Right, and your Musa or Blademaster will do a stun, right, to whoever you're fighting. Yeah. And of course we have our level 70 buff, right? So basically for this buff it's usually the same, right? Plus 10% critical hit damage, plus 2% to your Black Spirit rage damage, and of course, allow you to gain back 100 HP every 2 seconds, right? So for a total of 10 seconds, so that's around 500 HP at level 1. And then your attack will be added by 35 for 30 seconds. And your critical rate will increase by 10% as well for 30 seconds. And of course your dodge cooldown will be reduced by 2 seconds. Yeah. So those are the skills, right? And these are the skills that I'm using for PvP, right? Just for a quick glance. Right, so without further ado, we'll jump into some PvP matches, right? To show you how you can use the Ascended Musa or Blademaster in a fight. Alright, looks like we have found a high-ranking player. Let's go. Okay, so let me show the counter skill first. Yeah, so this is the counter skill. If the enemy does not attack you in the meanwhile, it will go off by itself. But if an enemy attacks you while you're doing the animation, waiting for an attack, kind of like this. Yeah, notice that our skill went off by itself, yeah? So that was the stun. And knockdown. And followed by a few hurricanes, yeah? And GG well played. By the way, that was the new archer class that was recently just added today, yeah. Okay, let's see what class this is. Okay, so let's use our counter skill, right? Notice we use our counter skill and our character attack this player by himself, yeah. Yeah, so this is how important the counter skill is. Yeah, because with the frontal guard, right, if anyone hits you when you're waiting, right, with your counter skill, your frontal guard will protect you and your character will automatically do the countering. Okay, this seems like the same archer player. Okay, so as you can see, that was the countering that we did just now. And the knockdown, followed by some life stealing, yeah. And GG well played. Alright, seems like we have a bot. Okay, but it's fine. Right, we just show off how to use the counter skill again, which is very, very important. Yeah. Right, as you can see over there. Okay. Okay, that does the daze and knockdown. And GG well played. Alright, we have a new player finally. Okay, hopefully a different class. Oh, okay, so that is the new archer as well. The new class that was just added today. Right, as you can see, he recovers fast, yeah. And GG well played. So hopefully this short preview on the Blademaster or Musa Ascended has been helpful and entertaining for you. Right, so if you like this video, right, be sure to share, like, and subscribe. And be sure to look forward to our upcoming and new Black Desert mobile videos. Stay awesome and cheers.